Hello and welcome to the brewery, and today we're back onto making tap handles. A while back you may have seen a video where I made some nice simple wooden ones just to get used to the process. But now I think we're going to have a go at something a little bit more interesting. So what have I got? Well, I'm going to continue to use for these ones these sort of hammer in connectors. You'll see why in a second. And to go with those, I have some effectively test tubes. They're little plastic test tubes with a screw-on metal cap. I'm actually going to be using these in another video in the relatively near future, but I thought I'd give them a go. So, what am I up to? So, I've seen a few people making tap handles that contain brewing ingredients, so I thought I'd give this a go. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put one of these connectors through the lid like that and epoxy it into place, and then I'm going to fill up the test tube with brewing ingredients. So what we're going to fill them up with? Well, I have here some fairly old Hallertau Blanc that came from somewhere free. I'm not particularly fond of this hop, and it's whole leaf, and I don't often use whole leaf hops. And I have some Crisp Breast Pale Ale uncrushed malt. Now I've got a small amount of this off the Malt Miller uncrushed. It's the cheapest one they do, just for show. So let's give this a go and see how it turns out.
First, I mark the centre with a punch. Then I use a small drill to drill a pilot hole through. Get the cardboard out while I'm at it. I then use a much larger drill that matches the fitting, and then a file to tidy the hole up a bit. It doesn't need to be too tidy, just good enough that the fitting will be able to go through when I hit it with a hammer. And I carefully use a rubber mallet to hammer the fitting into place. I then try to bend over the pins on the fitting to lock it in a bit more solidly. This is surprisingly hard. Once that's in place, I mix up a large amount of 2-part epoxy. Once this is ready, I set it aside and get ready to fill the test tube. So here is where I pour in the uncrushed malt I got earlier. I'm making a terrible mess here. I'm going to have to clear this up very carefully unless I attract mice into the garage looking for the grain. I then pour the epoxy into the cap at quite some depth. Once the epoxy is in place, I screw the cap onto the tube, which unfortunately happened to be off camera. And then, once the glue is set, I fit it onto the taps.
Well, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and gives you some ideas for things you could make yourselves, and I will see you in another video.